this morning around 6 a.m. Police Scotland, under the sort of banner of Operation Venetic. The Operation Venetic is a UK-wide investigation into organised crime. And this operation, or part of the operation yesterday morning, was part of Operation Venetic, which has already seen around about 60 arrests in Scotland alone. This particular police operation this morning, about 6 a.m, there was a property in the Bishopbriggs area of Glasgow, just outside Bishopbriggs, just outside Glasgow, a suburb of Glasgow, if you like. They went to a property and arrested a 46-year-old man. That man is Stephen Daniel, a senior member of the Daniel family, the same family that's been in this long-running feud with the Lyons crime family over the last 25 years. Stephen Daniel was arrested this morning about 6 a.m. Officers called at his home. He was taken out in handcuffs, put into a police van or police vehicle, and taken to a police office for questioning. We don't know where at this moment. We don't know if he's been charged as yet, or if he'll be appearing in court tomorrow or in the next few days. Now, what the police Scotland are not saying too much, but they have confirmed the arrest of a 46-year-old man on allegations of being involved in serious organised crime, firearms and drugs offences. We know from our own sources that this particular individual is Stephen Daniel, known as Bonzo. That's his kind of family nickname. To tell you about Stephen Daniel, he's the nephew of Jamie Daniel. Jamie Daniel used to be head of the Daniel crime family, crime clan, if you like. He passed away in 2016. And to many sort of observers of the sort of organised crime scene, Stephen Daniel is seen as kind of de facto sort of senior member of that family. He's now been arrested, as I said earlier, on charges, or he's been arrested in connection with allegations of serious organised crime, firearms, drugs offences. We also know from Police Scotland that around about the same time, a 38-year-old man was arrested in the Garthamlock area of Glasgow. That's about 4 miles from Bishopbriggs, more towards the east end of the city. And he's been arrested on, I say, similar charges, serious and organised crime, firearms, drugs offences, but also conspiracy to murder. We don't know too much about that. But this is a fairly major operation. Assistant Chief Constable David Ferry has made a statement saying that this is part of a wider investigation into organised crime. Organised crime won't be tolerated in Scotland. It's very much a message coming also from the Chief Constable. They're also reassuring the public that they won't tolerate people being involved in organised crime and the potential dangers to the public, and also made a kind of more general appeal for information. If you know people engaged in organised crime, to come forward and tell the police. So this is a major development. You know, we've seen quite a few arrests in the last couple of months. We've seen the arrest of Stephen Lyons, the so-called head of the Lyons crime family, right? Lyons crime clan. He was originally arrested coming off a plane in Bali. He was deported to Amsterdam in Holland, and he was subsequently extradited to Spain. Currently a prison somewhere in Spain, facing charges basically of being involved in organised crime and money laundering. So it's a dramatic development in terms of the police operation against organised crime. We know that it's not just a kind of Police Scotland investigation. We know that they're involved with forces, with the National Crime Agency, with police forces in Holland, United Arab Emirates, and places like Turkey. So it's quite global. And we can sort of see the arrest this morning of Stephen Daniel, that kind of context. We know in respect to the Lyons family, with the arrest of Stephen Lyons, there's also been other people arrested or extradited, in one case from Dubai. There was a big police operation in the late spring, early summer in Spain, where quite a number of alleged members of the Lyons crime family were arrested. There were similar operations in the Glasgow and West of Scotland area. So what we're really seeing is a major offensive by Police Scotland in connection with basically police forces across Europe and in the globe to target organised crime, and in particular people in Scotland allegedly involved in organised crime, and more specifically members of the Daniel and Lyons families.
Yeah, and that's now a figure from either side of this historic feud in Scotland who have been apprehended by authorities. Is this a kind of signalling a turning point here, or what does this kind of mean?
I think what we're seeing now is one of the criticisms that's often made of police generally is that they get the kind of small fry, or the people that are allegedly involved, maybe sort of middle ranking figures. But I think what we've seen in recent years, certainly going back maybe last 5 or 6 years to about 2019, is fairly major figures, people near the top of the tree, people who are making or allegedly making the decisions. So the rest of Stephen Lyons falls in. Stephen Lyons is seen as the de facto head of the Lyons family. Stephen Daniel seen as a senior member of the Daniel family. So what we're seeing now, and not just in Scotland, is police forces targeting people near the top. We saw the last couple of weeks, the arrest and deportation of Daniel Kinahan, infamously head of the Irish Daniel crime family, the Kinahan family. He was deported or extradited to Ireland to stand trial. So we're seeing quite the police getting people really near the top of the tree. Key figures, not just kind of people further down. And this is been linked to a kind of communication system called EncroChat. Now, this is something that the criminals have been using probably for the last 6-7 years. But it's basically a messaging system where they kind of text each other and exchange information and details about their alleged criminal operations. And the authorities have been able to hack into that. And that's provided a kind of wealth of information in recent years, where it's basically the police have been able to say to the individuals, we've got evidence of you planning these criminal operations. We've seen quite a number of people end up in prison. So it's quite a major development that, the police are having big success in targeting, the big boys, the main players in organised crime, both at home and abroad.
Do you think the EncroChat kind of breakthrough has been a big factor in this?
The information I have, effectively all the major arrests of criminal figures and imprisonments and what have you is mainly due to being able to crack this EncroChat system and to be able to work through that. I mean, there's a lot of work for the police. It was originally a system used globally by criminals, and apparently it was the French authorities that originally cracked it, and they provided this kind of wealth of information, like a treasure trove of information that police have effectively just been working through for the last 4 or 5 years, effectively. We don't know if it's connected to the arrest of Stephen Daniel or directly Stephen Lyons, but we know of a case recently where a fairly senior crime figure was extradited back to Glasgow, and it was presented with evidence of drug dealing criminality, and he pled guilty. So we've seen a lot of guilty pleas, basically based around a lot of this EncroChat information. So it's been a real breakthrough for the police, and it's enabled them to target people really at the top of the tree.
Well, yeah, something we always talk about, how modern techniques have been able to obviously let criminals work under the radar, and in this case being able to crack it shows you how valuable that asset is to law enforcement.
Also, what worth just reminding readers, listeners, that the Stephen Daniel was subject to a very serious assault in 2017, when basically he was chased through the street in his car, which he was kind of cornered near the M8, near Port Dundas area, suffered serious facial injuries, basically a series of machete attacks attacked in the car.
Horrific.
Very seriously injured. This was carried out, or alleged carried out, by members of the Lyons crime family, Lyons crime gang, the associates of that family, and 6 people, fairly senior figures or associates of the Lyons crime family, were given substantial prison sentences, totaling 104 years. In 3 cases, individuals were sentenced to 20 years for the attack in Stephen Daniel and 5 other similar type attacks, but not as severe as the one in Stephen Daniel. So we're seeing, that not just recently, but maybe the last 5 or 6 years, fairly major inroads into these 2 families and other people involved in organised crime.
Hopefully they're